Yeah. So here I am with Lindy the Rock. Is it okay if I call you the Rock?
That's good. Yeah,
Well, you
we're
know what? I have to preface that now because I was interviewing Dia Barnes and I called her AB and she was like, I don't like people calling me AB. I was like, all right, that's fine with me. So I preference it and I want to make sure I'll be able to do that.
yeah, no, that's good. I've been called a lot worse, so the Rock is good for me.
Well, let's get into it because I know you're busy, but I wanted to talk about you for a hot minute. And we off air real quick. We talked about Oklahoma, and I had no idea that you were tied in. How long did you work for Sherry?
I was there 2 years. So
Okay.
after I graduated from college, I kind of took a little gap year, if you will, and worked in some corporate sales. But then was able to connect with Sherry and her staff, and I was a graduate assistant for 2 years, and it was awesome for me.
Well, I'm gonna jump off script right quick.
Yeah,
You in corporate sales, huh?
yeah, I did.
Did you Did you know you wanted to be? I asked a lot of coaches this too. Did you know you wanted to be a coach coming out? Did you know I'm a coach? I'm a be a coach.
Yeah, I knew I knew I was, or and that's what I wanted to do. But I also knew I was like a player for a long time, and I just wanted to be able to have a little bit of time to take my playing hat off and kind of reassess and just kind of gather myself before I really dove into the coaching thing. So it
Yeah.
was about an 8 month break, and it was just long enough.
I'm gonna tell you the story. Kate told me. Kate said she was in the she was doing a law firm. She worked for a law firm for a little bit. Was in court a couple of times, and she's like, as soon as I went in there, Carrie, I knew I had to get back to basketball. I did
Yeah.
not want to be that. So
Well,
that's ironic that you said that.
yep. Kate's one of my biggest mentors, so I
Oh,
probably learned
really?
from her. Yep.
All right. Well, good stuff. I just texted her earlier to see how she's holding up. So, but Belmont, how did that come to process?
I was a graduate assistant at Oklahoma, and I was kind of like a lot of these GAs running around at the Final Four looking for jobs. And I was lucky to have Sherry, a great advocate for me, as well as kind of the whole Stanford staff. And so there was an opening at Belmont, and learned a lot quickly about the program and everything that was there to offer. And kind of had a little bit of an interview at the Final Four there. I think it was in Tampa that year, and next thing I knew, I was headed out there as my first real job as an assistant coach, and I couldn't have asked for anything better.
Now, Belmont is in Tennessee, right?
Nashville, yeah.
Oh man, I've never been to Nashville, and I'm gonna. That's on my bucket list to hit Nashville. I was hoping they having somebody having an event there at Nashville. So let's talk about Stanford and T. I met her before. She's so nice. She was very approachable. I like that when I can approach someone and they're very approachable. So she was very approachable, and we had a short conversation, and I talked to her a little bit. So, what you learn from T?
I mean, what haven't I, honestly? As a 16-year-old, I was recruited by Stanford and Tara and Amy and the great staff there. Played there, obviously, for 4 incredible years, and played in 4 Final Fours and had incredible teammates, the games. Then I start this coaching thing, and kind of they help me figure my way. And then next thing I know, she's inviting me back to be on the staff. And I mean, that was really a dream come true. I was like, honestly, I thought she had was calling the wrong person when she first called me, but to be back at Stanford and have kind of that first full circle moment of playing for her and then working alongside her and Kate and Tempe, it just a lot of
Tempe was still there.
yeah.
She's still there, Stanford.
Yeah, she was there when I was working there, and then she took a couple years off, and now she's back. So a lot of who I am is because of Stanford, and really because of Tara.
Okay. Well, is there something that you blend the styles, Tara's style and your style? Because you can't duplicate what she does. So you have to blend what the Rock got has going on as opposed to with Tara. So what did you blend the two together to give you that Vegas flavor?
Yeah, well, I think again, we started off the talk here talking about Sherry and my time in Oklahoma, and I think between those two amazing women, I mean, I just have two incredible examples of achieving greatness, doing it different ways, but really getting to the absolute highest level. And so I try to view myself as a blend of both of them. They both are so excellent in their skills. Sherry has a way with words and just connection with people and relationships. And so does Tara, but in her own way. And then Tara has just like the work, the preparation, the discipline, the standard, and so does Sherry in her own way. So I'd like to think maybe I'm a little bit of blend of each of them with my own twist and flavor too.
Style basketball wise, with the new evolution of basketball, I know Coach Tara, she studied the Warriors, and she started doing some of the things that have going over to Golden State, and I started watching that. And I was like, whoa, that's pretty interesting. So do you blend that in here? Do you have a spacing backdoor cut, it's that type of thing over there in Vegas? I know I watch your team and I'm impressed.
Yeah, I mean, I think, one of the things I learned from both of them is just to be lifelong learners. And so watching whether it's the NBA, the WNBA, other college programs that I admire, and just continuing to learn different basketball schemes. I think that's what we try to do here at UNLV is just assess our personnel and how are we going to be most successful, how can they learn quickest, and put them in positions to win and be successful.
I had to do some homework on you since I'm kind of connected with coaches, so I had to see what your credit score was. I talked to some coaches, and I tell you, I'm not even going to blow your head up. They talk good about you. I have not had one negative thing about you, but you said something. I got to reach back. 4 Final Fours.
Yeah.
Woo! Stanford set the pace back in, so it's got to be bothering you a little bit that when they converted over to the ACC, it's like, whoa, we got to make some adjustments to Stanford I say, and I talked to Kay about it, I'll be transparent, the type of athletes that they have to play in the ACC. The Pac-12 was one of the best conferences in the country back in the day. So to go over to the ACC, it's a little different. So what's your feeling? Are you feeling Stanford? I mean, how you feel about that?
I mean, there's no one that loves Stanford more than me and wants them to be successful.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's who I'm cheering for. When the Rebels aren't playing, I'm cheering for the Cardinal against everyone. And so that is my pride and joy for sure. I think when I think back to my time as a player, just the Pac-12 conference, the Conference of Champions, I think the biggest thing is just it was sad to kind of see it crumble by the wayside, honestly, because it was such at an elite level. I think we took a lot of pride in really building that conference. And then, of course, you can't control everyone and everyone else's decisions. So then their decision to go to the ACC, I think that's a right move for them. And, I know nothing about it.
I tell you, I think I had the whole Pac-12 on here, all the old coaches.
Yeah.
And Sean wants to do a 30-30 on the Pac-12 and why it demised and all of this. And even Corey, every one of the Pac-12 coaches hate, and JR over in Colorado, that they hate the Pac-12 got diminished like that. And Charm was she came out, I don't know if you know Charm, she's pretty wears her stuff on her sleeve. So she said some things about it, but both of them believe most of them believe that was, the collaboration from top to bottom was why the Pac-12 was so good, and why it was one of the top conferences in the league. That's why when I see Kate, and I pull for Stanford a lot too because I'm from the Bay, I just see that there's got to be some adjustments in terms of ACC is a little different than the Pac-12. So, but you stayed 4 years. Nowadays, man, who's staying 4 years?
Hopefully more.
Yeah, I hope so too. But in this new climate, 4 years, man, that's something special. I had another kid on this stay for at Lamar, and she's like, I enjoyed my time there. So back then they weren't jumping like they were doing now. So now here's the question I wanted to ask: hottest coaches, 30. I'm not gonna put you ladies don't like telling their age. So you're one of the hottest, youngest coaches right now. Why Vegas? Why you still? I mean, because I'm on this space. I hear your name dropping a lot. Yeah, you could have left by now and took a better job. I heard your name tapped onto some jobs, and UNL. What's keeping you there besides fam? I know you're from there, but there's
Yeah.
got to be family, best familiar. So I answered that. So go ahead and tell people why you staying at Vegas.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously it's a popular question that honestly I'm thrilled to answer. It means that I'm doing a great job here, that people are excited about what we're doing, they're interested in it, and maybe they want it for their own place. But what keeps me here is I am born and raised here in Las Vegas. I've got a young family myself. I've got a 3.5-year-old. I've got a 1.5-year-old. My parents are my life. I'm so grateful for them. They exposed me to basketball at an early age. My dad is Coach Rocque here in town. I am Lindy Rocque, the 2.0, but my dad is really the Coach Rocque. He's the legend here. And my parents are getting older, and that's just, I mean, the full transparent answer, honestly, Carrie, is that like I don't know how many summers, I don't know how many Christmases I have left with them.
Absolutely.
And I've got 2 young kids, and it would be easy to leave here if this school wasn't so great and I wasn't so supported. So you put those 2 things together, kind of my family and all of the personal things that I have here, and then the professional of UNLV is in Las Vegas, a budding city of arguably the sports capital of the world.
Oh, turned into, definitely.
And I have great support. I have an AD that allows me to do a lot of things. We have a president here that is in great alignment. We have resources here at UNLV. So you put those 2 things together, and it's too good to leave. And not saying that I'll like die here, because I do want to do this for a really long time. I want to do this for 30 more years. I am a young coach.
You gonna be that old trying to coach, girl?
Well, I'm probably, yeah, why not? I mean, I've got young kids. They've got to get through college and all that. I'm 3 years old, so
Yeah.
I at least got to do it for 25 more years.
Now, when they get like in their teens, they start backing off of you. They don't need mom as much. I know my daughter, we should always be with me, daddy. We was like, daddy this, that, and that. As soon as she hit 15, 14, it was like, Dad, you doing too much.
Well, they still want your money, though. So
Oh, absolutely. To this day.
right. So have to keep working. But,
yeah.
I think really that's it. And I'm really excited about what we've built here. And I just think we have more places to go. Again,
I got you.
I felt like if we were at the top of the ceiling here at UNLV, or if I didn't have great support, then, I'd be interested in other places. But right now, I'm happy to be where my feet are, and my happiness. So I'm really
That's
happy.
standard question. I got that from some people. I'm happy to be where I stand. This is where my feet are. But this is a transparent show, and I can have fun with it. So I say, when Kate retire, get your bus and get all your stuff and move to going up to San Pablo. All right? When Kate retire, you go ahead and put your name in for the Stanford gig. Is that okay? Can I call your agent and say, Kate's retiring? You know who's getting that gig. Let her go.
I don't know.
Kate's gonna retire. That's what she's gonna do. She's not gonna be there. She's gonna retire Stanford. She loves Stanford. So
right. Well,
that's a sisterhood.
20 years too. So
good stuff. But real quick, what high school did you go to in Vegas?
I went to Durango High School.
I know where it's at. I used to come to Vegas with the boys when I was on the boys' side, and I'm watching, doing all the hoop there. So I know where Durango High is too. So let's keep it moving, because I know you got a lot of stuff going on. Now, if I stepped into your practice in 10 minutes, how would I know it's a Coach Rocque's team? How would what would it be? I go, man, this got them going on.
Oh, let's see. I mean, it will have a plan. That's for sure. It will have a plan, and we will be on time. I'm pretty type A in that way. I create a plan every day, and we spend time, and it's very intentional and purposeful. So all of our drills kind of have a reason and intention. And then one of the things I've maybe become a little more known for is my passing academy. So you'd see some great passing,
I couldn't pull up some old tape on you. I didn't have time because I'm doing all this other stuff, but I wanted to. So I guess I'll do that when I'm laying around hanging, just looking for something. I'm gonna pull you up and see what the passing is. So the things you just said is terror, Was that based on what you learned from Tara on time? All this, is that from Tara or was that from Sherry?
I think
You
it's a
know,
combination of both. I mean, I think both were very diligent in their preparation and had plans intentionally for practice every day. Um, and so I think I carry that over of just being organized. And, I think if you want to do great things, you've got to have a plan for it. And it starts daily, and then obviously
absolutely.
big picture plan. So,
Structure.
yeah, I believe in that practice plan and following it and being intentional. And I mean, are we on time every day? No, but 90% of the days we are.
All right, that's good stuff. Now, you also talked about, Cade and all your mentors. Is that important to you to be a mentor? You was at Tampa. You say, I see when I'm at Final Four, I see all the little young coaches bopping around, trying to get their break. What is there something that you do to maybe a little bit more? I came from there. I know what these ladies are going through. Do you have something set up like personally or on the side where I want to pull her up under my wing and show her what to do?
Yeah, honestly, it's pretty surreal that now people look to me to be a mentor because I'm still looking for more myself because I do believe I'm a young in the career and I feel like some coaches have forgotten more basketball than I've even known. So
That you said that.
I'm still searching for mentors, but then I do kind of recognize that I hold the responsibility to continue to mentor young people, especially young coaches in our profession. So, we have roles on our staff that I intentionally try to hire young people that need experience and then help them go on. Where it's not like so that you can be on my staff for 6, 7, 10 years. It's like this is kind of a 1 or 2 year role, and it's my job to help you go get the next better job. So I'm proud of that. I've kind of, you know, started my own little coaching tree, which is weird.
Uh, I
Uh,
talked to Kelly Graves. I got on Kelly Graves about that. Kelly got a big tree. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, he's been doing it a long time.
yeah, yeah.
So
I named off all his little coaches, and I had most of them on the show, and I was like, they all mentioned Kelly.
yeah.
So earlier you said you look at colleges and some that you like. Give me a couple, and then we'll keep. I just had to get off track on that one. I got a script that I follow, but I wanted to touch bases on what college style. I'm interested to see what college you like, how they play.
Well, I love watching basketball and I love watching college
Me too.
basketball. I really enjoy watching the WNBA, but so many things like can translate and then some don't. And so I think where actually I learned the most is watching other women's college teams across the country. And so of course I watch a lot of film on the teams that were playing and then the opponents they had prior, so that kind of spreads me out. And I get to see a lot of different teams play, but I'm kind of an offensive minded person by nature. And so it's not just the top dogs that I
Yeah,
enjoy
yeah.
watching of UCLA and
You like Corey Style?
yeah, I think she's great, but that also like my players are different than her players. So
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm just, iron sharpens iron.
yeah,
So you could like somebody. You could say I like her style. I look at people and guys that are in my space, and I give them their compliments.
yeah,
You like Geno style? Because I love it. I love the way they play basketball. It's not a matter of like you said, who's on top. I like basketball. My wife says you got 3 TVs going on. You don't mess with me in March.
yeah.
So, but I love their style, the way they play the game, the less dribbling, the cutting. I love Golden State and how they, stuff like that. That's what the question. I was like, so you can name off some schools you like.
Yeah. Now you're putting me on the spot.
Yeah,
You
that's the
know,
show.
yeah.
I
Obviously, we
could.
have the Aces here in town, so I like watching in person. I've got season tickets. I really like what Becky does. Obviously, they have the best players.
Absolutely.
I really like what Nate Tibbetts does with the Mercury. I think what he's done for the last couple of years has been good. In college, I like. I'm a fan of a lot of my peers. Lisa at Gonzaga, I think she does a great
Lisa
job.
Fournier, yeah.
I like South Dakota State. I mean,
Woo!
I
I watched them because I got ESPN Plus. Thank God for ESPN Plus.
yeah,
I love basketball. I watched South Dakota State. I
yeah,
did. I watched them play somebody one time. They're playing pretty good ball. I
yeah.
like it.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like a lot. I like watching good basketball.
That's what I say too. So all my guys, I used to be on the boys side, and they always say, "What are you doing? You used to be on the boys side." Like, I don't even watch the NBA. I don't even watch
Yeah.
the NC2A boys. Couldn't tell you who they were. I am so into women's basketball that I'm just saying my bandwidth is not that big to be spread it out all over the place. But I'm gonna say no names, but I'm gonna ask you about this style, and it's a little controversy. You like 5 out, 5 in? I'm a sub 5 out. And I'm a sub 5 in. Don't I?
That's not me. That's not me. But there's philosophies out there that it works. So
Yeah. Well,
that's not me.
yeah. I know. I used to hate it as a player. When I was coaching club ball, the guys used to coach. You got to stop that. And because I was a player's coach, so I'm like, then I learned. This was years ago, and I learned. I said, that's not my style either. That's not my style. So, but let's keep it moving. I want to ask you this too, and I do the diamonds in the rough because this is a tough time on the high schoolers right now. It's really a tough time on them, and I try to, with my diamonds in the rough, I try to help them out, get some clarity, get some assessment for the right fit, and get some discipline at a young age because you can't start your junior year. You need to start young now as a high schooler. What is a real diamonds in the rough to you?
I'd like to think that we've had some here in our program, and
Name them. That'd be great. Name them.
Desi Ray Young. I mean, she's going down as the greatest player, one of the greatest players in UNLV history. We're probably retiring her jersey this year, and she was a local kid from Las Vegas and had two, I think, Division I offers, UNLV, and I can't even remember the other one. So she stayed here in town, and she was actually recruited by the previous staff, but she was a freshman my very first year as a head coach, and so I think she's a true diamond in the rough. And I think what sets her apart is obviously she's kind of got some gifted ability that was maybe covered up with some dirt, that needed to just be shined and polished. But she just loved the game and kind of had a motor and a work ethic to just a relentless competitor. I think those are the things that set her apart. And so, she was freshman of the year, player of the year, her sophomore year, kind of got gypped of it her junior year, and then got it again her senior year. Second all time in rebounding, third all time in points scored here at UNLV, a 4-year player. So I consider her a diamond in the rough. And then at UNLV, we have to look for those,
Absolutely.
And sometimes, a diamond in the rough doesn't just have to be a kid with just one offer, but it can also be a kid that, maybe has lower level offers than us, but we see something in them that we can shine bright, and so some of that, like you said, kind of comes back to how long have they been playing, what type of coaching have they had, do they have some kind of innate abilities that if you can do that, then we can teach you, X, Y, and Z. So we look for those things in recruiting, a high motor, just playing relentless and playing hard. I mean, those are things that are hard to teach because it's either you're either a great rebounder or you don't have the knack for it, So I like the diamonds in the rough.
Well, I tell you this, you said something else about the dirt covering over it. Are coaches willing to wait? There's a gamble. And I talk to parents about this, and when I'm educating them on the educational piece of being a diamond in the rough, it's a gamble nowadays. When you and I were playing coming up, freshman, probably, did you play your freshman year?
A little bit.
Okay. Now, you play a good freshman a little bit, you know what could happen next.
Right.
So in this climate, are coaches willing to wait to get that diamond to shine? I was talking to Nikki Vargas about that. Waiting, and do you have the time? I listen to coaches, they just don't, they're scared to invest in that player now, and it's a bad space. I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's it depends on where you're at and what your philosophy is. Here our philosophy is around recruiting high school kids. I've signed 6 incoming freshmen.
Wow, I was going to ask you about that.
which is crazy. Most college coaches are probably like think I'm crazy, but for me, I'm an educator at heart. Both
Uh-huh.
parents are school teachers, so I view this whole coaching gig as, from an educator's lens, and I can't get distracted by, well, if I make them better, then they might leave in a year or two, because those are the things that fill up my cup, and bring me joy is the development and the process
Yeah.
of that. So I can't not invest in that at the what if that may come later. So it sometimes for us it's like, are the kids going to wait? Are they going to trust the process?
Got all
Or
these stupid handlers and agents and people in their ear and all this noise. And I'm like, I got some situations that we don't have time to go into. I'm like, well, why are you leaving? Stay there. You
yeah.
know, but
So
that's just the climate that we're in. And you're talking about freshmen, and she's coming on next week, and she's in the freshmen. Coach Green over at Illinois, she's got freshmen that she's going to play freshmen, and she had a young team this year. So I'm interested to see what's her point of view on that, for Illinois going into the future. But you mentioned development. And I was talking to Corey Close about development, and I did a show with her and clipped on about development. How do you develop? Is it doing summer, spring? What's the process of my developing you? Is it your diet? All of that comes into development when I think of development.
yeah, I mean, I think it's year round. And it starts, we try to honestly even get it started before you get your feet on the ground here on campus with us, because there's a whole sports performance piece that I think is new when players get to college, of the nutrition, the sports science thing, the blood work. How can we really learn about you as a person, so that we can maximize your talent? So we try to get those things started, but the development piece is year round. Obviously there can be more of an emphasis in the off season, when it's less about having team concepts to try to win games. But I think where we've had a lot of our success is we don't sacrifice that in season, and that we stick with our player development, our skill sessions, even throughout the course of our season, so that our players can get better during the year. I think you have to. Obviously, we want our team to get better. Then that relies on our players individually getting better. So for us, the development piece is year round, and then of course there's some different times of the year where there's maybe some more intention, and really hone in on improving different skills. But I think it's we can also be so limited in our hours. I think some of that development,
Yes.
like what are you willing to do more and extra on
On
your own?
your own. On your own. I find over the years I found that you don't get better in chunks. If you're a good player, you don't chunk get better. I get better. I just got a chunk. I'm much better now. That's not how it works, at least from my years of experience in coaching and doing what in this space. You get better in increments. And I try to tell players, you got to pick, and that's coming from Kobe, the mentality, and my whole ecosystem is based upon Kobe. So to get better in increments, you have to have some discipline and some structure in terms of, I can't go left as well as I want to. Didn't spend 3 months going left. My free throw percentage is down. Then shoot 1,000 free throws, 250 a day, or whatever the number is to get it to the point where that percentage is up. I think you get better in increments, and and I think it's hard for colleges to say that we develop, and yeah, you do, but it's on the player. The player has to want to get developed. They have to put in the time, because like you said, we're limited in time. You have to get in the gym, and I used to get on my daughter about that, about getting in the gym and putting in the work. And that's just a process of it. You have to put in the work. So let's talk about this too. And I don't know, I'm big on the freshmen. This 5 for 5. What's your feeling on this? And I think it's going to hurt the high schoolers. It's almost like you're getting the COVID year again. I mean, reading it and studying it, and I'm going, it's another COVID year. So now all these seniors get to stay and get their another year. That's another freshman that's not going to be able to play, or not going to get recruited because they're going to go for that 5th-year senior.
Yeah, obviously the wild times continue to get wilder in our business, and there will always be someone that feel slighted or got the short end of the stick. It'll be interesting how this all gets rolled out because of that, right? Are these I think that's what they're still trying to figure out, are some of the implications of how this is going to affect the current student athletes that are sophomores, juniors, seniors. I think they're pretty heart set that this freshman class will be the first up to 5 class where you can have up to 5. But the sophomore, junior, senior, how is that going to work for them? So, you know, um, that's a little bit above my pay grade, but I think it will change a little bit of how we just assess our forecasting of talent, of depth charts, of
Hmm.
now planning for 5 years. It does change things. I don't know who it's going to benefit or help right away, honestly, um, but we'll have to see how it goes.
Well, you hit something else. I'm gonna jump off script, but I wanted to keep the interview under 30 minutes. I know you're busy. Um, you said it's above my pay grade. Okay. Do you have a GM that you work with, or you don't? Because I see all these schools going GM, and I have a philosophy on that GM stuff. I really like it, and I said it 3 or 4 years ago that colleges are going to start having GMs, and I think the GM helps the college coaches, head coaches, fluff. She doesn't need to be handling all this. You don't need to be worried about budgets. You don't need to be worried about this. You don't need to be worried about all the things that the GM takes that the coaches are doing now. Needs to be taken off their plate and give the GM specifically for women's basketball, not the GM for the whole program, but I think the GM is an important role going into the future of women's basketball. And I have another, when I see you at a tournament, I'm going to talk about what my philosophy is helping that GM out. What's your thought on the GM?
Um, you're looking at mine.
Yeah, I
Uh,
know. I know.
you know, I think there are some benefits to the role and to the position with the right person, for whoever matches the program, the staff, the head coach, the university well. For me, it is a lot to manage all of the different things, but those are, th- those are the things that I don't mind doing right now. Um, and I feel like I've gotten better at it every year because I do think there's some preparation and you got to be a little bit ahead of the curve and all those things. But if you can plan for it, then it's not too bad. Would I, like I think we can move in that direction. For us here at UNLV, we're not quite there yet,
Yeah,
but
I know a
it,
lot of mid majors aren't budget
yeah,
wise willing to hire a guy to
no,
come in and be
just
that
that.
way.
But like you said, like I don't want to share someone with the men. Like I don't want to. I want it to be my person, and
Yeah,
so
you have to be aligned. You get
yeah,
him that you're aligned with. He knows your vision. He loves women's basketball. He takes all, you speaking, you're doing this, you're all over the place, and it takes away from the actual coaching, the X's and O's. I
right,
know you're young enough now to want to do it, but just imagine if you had someone was lightening your load with that, and now I can focus on, and he helps you with recruiting. He finds the right people or working with agents and club guys who think they know everything and handlers and all of that stuff, man. So I get it, and hopefully, I think eventually, you guys. I was talking to Mike Bradbury about it, and we talked about that too. So let's talk about the transfer portal and how you handle it. And I'll let you get out of here. Pretty soon. Here, we'll land this plane. Woo! Let's talk about it. How you handling it? What's your thought on it? I know it has perks, but it also, I love it. And there's some parts of it I can't stand.
yeah.
But
I think the intent of it was very positive, and I do think it's helped a lot of young people be able to get to better situations that they're looking for. For us, we had 6 transfers last year. We have 3 incoming this year. For how I want to continue to build the program and what I feel is sustainable is not relying on the transfer portal every year, but actually having a freshman class and having them matriculate and trying to keep them here. So, that's where maybe I did kind of the opposite swing of I signed 6 freshmen and only 3 transfers instead of 3 freshmen and 6 transfers. And I think that just, it's me, it's my style, it's the way I want to teach, the way I want to coach, the style that we want to play. I think it's more suitable that way. But with that being said, I think transfers has helped our program in tremendous ways.
Absolutely.
Since it's really started. 3 years ago, we got Essence Booker out of the transfer portal, and arguably she helped put our program on the map and win us our first championships and go to the NCAA tournament. So, I think there's a lot of benefit to it. I'm not one that wants to build my whole roster around that, but have it be pieces. And
Yeah.
I think you can
That's
get
the part I told you I like
good
how to use it.
yeah, so that's kind of how our philosophy is here. And you don't always get to cut the cake the way you want every year, but that's at least our plan and our intention of how we're going to shape our roster.
Did your dad say that to you? You don't get to cut the cake how you wanted to have it cut. I like that. Seems like a veteran. That's like something real wise. That's not like your dad used to tell you that. Okay, transfers, and I thought Mark does it all the time. I don't want for me. And I'll talk about that, and I'll let you go here. We can talk hoop all the time. Mark, I don't think you can get any continuity, any loyalty, any. Where do you get your degree from? It's like Mark comes in at TCU, and he's every year he's pound. It's almost a whole new roster. And Javi, I'm not sure if you probably know Javi too. Yeah. So. I talked to them about it. That's what he's got this down to a science almost like, and I guess it works for him, it works. And Coach Yo, she be hitting it hard too. She works at portal and she'll come up with some bombshells out the blue and change it every year. This year her roster looks different. And then some schools, that are good schools, can't get that kid that'll take them over the hump. So portal works for people in and out. So it's all good. Well, I'm going to let you go, but here's the deal. When I go, I usually talk about PSA, which is for men's prostate cancer, African-American men. It has a high level of cancer, prostate cancer. So what I do, I like to mention it, and because I had a swollen prostate and I was nervous last year thinking I had prostate cancer, and I went to my urologist and all of that stuff. So men, get your PSA levels checked. And make sure you're exercising, eat the right food. Listen to some good podcasts out there on that. So you guys can look at those, get educated, and exercise and eat right and hydrate right. And it'll help you out in that program. And I always like to plug K-Pay with this one too, because Kate's mom died of cancer. I'm not sure if it was colon, but she said, Carrie, you got to mention the ladies too. So I always pop in K-Pay, say, ladies, go get your breast checked, go get check for your levels of cancer so we could be here and live a life of longevity. So, hey, Rocque, I like calling you Rocque. I like it. I like that. And plus, you're a passer too. You be throwing dimes like magic. Yeah. So I'm gonna be like Rocque. So thanks a lot for coming on the show. I'm gonna come to Vegas. You guys practicing in July?
Yeah, come on over. We got the summer league. We got everything. Vegas is.
I'm gonna be here. I know I'm gonna be. I hate name dropping. Now I'm not even gonna name drop. I keep name dropping, but I'm gonna be in Vegas. Somebody's dad was on my show. Her last name is Wilson, and he came on the show, and so I know he's gonna be in Vegas the whole time. And I'm pretty sure we'll connect and go to an Aces games. And Nikki Barker says she's coming on the show. I just name dropped, and I said I wasn't gonna name drop.
So,
huh?
That's why you got a podcast.
Yeah. And it's going into year 3, Kobe mentality. It's based upon Kobe and Gianna. My daughter and our relationship has been awesome. So, hey, thanks a lot. I'm coming to Vegas. I'm gonna call you when I come, and I'm gonna come to a practice. Don't big time me, because I told Lindsay that at USC, and she said, I said, Lindsay, you gonna big time me when I call you? No, Carrie, come on, no. I was like, okay. So I called her. I said, I'm coming. I just got my knee replaced, and I 3 months ago, and I need to get out the bubble. And she said, okay, Carrie, come on down. So I flew down and watched her practice against UCLA. Her practice, then I watched the UCLA game. So thanks a lot. I will see you when we get down to Vegas. I'll be there in July, or I'll see you around. You're still going for high school kids. So you'll be are you coming to Texas? Was somebody coming to Texas on the 15th?
Always.
All right. Well, I'll say hi to you, and we'll chop it up a little bit. All right.